Welcome to the Here's Where podcast We Speak Up. Today's episode is called The Power of Voting with Young People, featuring my mom, Linda Thomas, and my dad, Dwight Hopkins. Joining us today is my mom, Linda E. Thomas from LSTC. She is a professor. So welcome to Here's Where Live We Speak Up, Mom.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Dora.
So, first of all, this is our first episode about how voting and impacts young people and power and can start movements. So, what is your thoughts on voting in general?
Oh, I think voting is the way that citizens of the United States um, do their civic duty, which is this is a democracy, and democracies depend on citizens, everyday people voting in every election, not only the national election. I think the local elections are even more significant.
So, that's good that you say that local elections are significant. What do you think as a young person can do to help with voting if they can't yet vote yet?
So you mean someone that's, uh, you know, be, um, younger than
Under
18?
18.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that they can volunteer to be on a candidate's team. I think that young people can keep up with the issues and that they can have a voice, even though they may not have a vote. That is very important. And I think young people can be very influential on their parents, their friends. I know that you have influenced me, particularly when you chose to be an independent, while I am a Democrat. And I think your path is really making me think about whether I want to become an independent. So I think the way that you have participated in letting me know what you think about public events and things that have to be voted on has been really very impressive.
Hmm. And then for those who are interested, who are 18, are able to get into local elections or want to run for local elections, what advice would you give to them?
I think that they need to think about the long haul. Um, it's very important to start as soon as they are able to start so that there can be name recognition um, along as they go along. So it also is important for them to get a following. I think social media is one place to do that, and probably one of the few places that will not cost money. Political campaigns, unfortunately, are are organizationally part of our democracy where people with money get way ahead because they can buy commercials. And therefore, the more commercials that are shown, the more people come to know. We found that out in Illinois this week because the governor supported his lieutenant governor and put $5 million into her campaign. Not surprisingly, she won. There's another candidate outside of Illinois who supported Bitcoin, and because that's a big idea right now, those candidates who chose to endorse that got a lot of votes. So it's important to keep up with the issues. It's important to have a team so that these are people who are clarifiers, who are confronters and collaborators. Um, Clarifiers help you to understand things. Confronters are people who, if you say you're going to do something, then you do it. I don't think Trump has enough confronters because the things that he said he's going to do, he is not doing. And then collaborators are people who help you get things done. And they become your hands and feet and speaking for you. I think the other thing is a candidate has to be willing to get out and make public appearances. Even some of the candidates who were running for judges, when we went to vote, they were outside the polling place, and they introduced themselves to us, and I voted for them. So that's what I think.
Mm-hmm. And also, do you think voting is important? If so, why?
Well, voting is important because democracy is a participatory uh, process. I think if one does not vote, one cannot complain. And even if they believe, well, my vote is not going to count, I believe it does, because even if your candidate doesn't win, the other candidate can see how many votes you got and what people were voting for. In other words, what issues the people who supported the other candidate was voting for. But especially for African Americans who whose uh, forebears or ancestors could not vote, if we know the history and respect the work of the ancestors in the fight, the all kinds of things that forebears did on behalf of us, I believe it's our moral duty to respect those who came before us, and those who were turned away, and they could not vote. In addition, Trump and the Republicans are trying to suppress the vote, and by suppressing the vote, it means that he's really trying to suppress the vote of those who have been disenfranchised. We cannot let that happen. So we need to go out and vote.
Mm-hmm. And one more question. What advice would you give to young people about elections and voting?
I would give young people advice about elections and voting by saying, know the issues, look up the candidates, do a little bit of homework, and get out there early. If you don't think you can get out to vote,
Give to young people about elections and voting.
I would give young people advice about elections and voting by saying, know the issues, look up the candidates, do a little bit of homework, and get out there early. If you don't think you can get out to vote, then go online and register to get the absentee ballot. That is what I do, And the only thing is that you have to mail it in time for the election people to know, to get it, and then they send you a verification email that your vote counted.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for joining us today. To my hearers or viewers, please come back for part two with my dad. Hope to see you there. And
Okay.
thank you, Mom, for joining us today.
Okay, thank you, daughter. I think this is fantastic. Bye-bye.
Bye.